Yo, TruflationNation, we're back again. It's Happy Wednesday. Awesome day today. Inflation is flat, 2.56%, nothing moving. But there are two things I really want to address today. Number one is how governments are working with stale data and why we need to have a more real-time system that is immutable, and why the blockchain is essential for making and using a decentralized database to ensure accuracy around data, but also the immutability associated with that data. Then the second element I want to talk about is censorship. And again, why we need the blockchain, because it's censorship resistant, right? The two elements that are really important to blockchain are immutability, censorship resistance, and ultimately permissionless, so anybody can get on without asking for permission. And so here again, inflation, why is this so sensitive at the moment, right? At some point in time, not only is Elon going to be attacked over the lack of censorship, right? You have government officials not wanting people to express an opinion anymore. You can't broadcast and share your ideas and opinions. And imagine now when we start to broadcast and as we expand into new markets, what that means when all of a sudden we have German inflation data. We have now got French data, right, on top of the existing UK data that we already have. And remember, the governments are reporting a significantly different number to what our number is. So right now, if you look at the UK, they're up at 9.12%, whereas the government is saying it's 6.7%, right? So we're still hovering around a 9% inflation, and everybody you go to in the UK is experiencing very high costs of increase in costs associated with food, clothing, electricity, utilities that they need at home. And by the way, we're entering into the winter. And by the way, this is largely due to the fact that there is no energy sufficiency and self-sufficiency in these markets. And when the winter comes, it's going to jump, especially as the oil price is now hitting $100. And no matter how much you're reliant on wind and solar, even though those have been banned and stopped and banned from being built to support the energy requirements, let alone the extraction of new oil out of the fields. So ultimately, it comes at a cost. And maybe that's what the population wants. And if that's what they want, then there's a cost associated with that, and that is going to be inflation. If that's okay, that's what people want. But just more importantly, imagine that these numbers are being taken as more an accurate reflection of what is going on. How do we stop government officials from banning this and shutting down things like Truflation, right? They're now telling Twitter to take down their opinions, and people actually saying, oh, it's not just about Russia, it's got a whole bigger context, and they're shrink wrapping this into Russia. We don't want to see that, and I would be super sad to see censorship take place and having people that can't manage their budgets, can't manage expenses, and are in charge and saying, oh, you don't worry, we got you covered, right? And these are people that are in some cases elected, but to a large extent these bureaucrats aren't elected, and who are in limiting innovation, stopping growth, etc. And so that's why we have to have the blockchain to ensure censorship resistancy. Move a lot of this data onto the blockchain and enable the storage of this data by many, 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 many different parties, and don't let politicians stop this. We are the biggest threat to any political bureaucracy institution out there, because ultimately they don't want people to speak up. They don't want people to have opinion, and we are a threat to their existence. We are disrupting those businesses, and disruptors always should never ask for permission to disrupt somebody, the disrupted, right? The disrupted are going to do everything in their power to stop disruptors from challenging them. And that's what's happening right now. We're seeing that across the board in the US with the SEC, the governments, as well as in Europe now with banning free speech, right? What is that? What is up with that? And is that a good thing? The other thing that we wanted to address quickly is GDP on Wednesday. So Thursday, tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, Eastern time, the government will be announcing the new inflation numbers. So here you can see share this tab. So here you can see what the actual numbers are. So on the 28th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the government will be updating the second quarter results with the third estimate, right? Remember, if you listen back to Truflation Nation a while back, you will have heard that they just announced the 1, 2, 3. So they take 3 months to verify how GDP has been performing. It's been performing good, though. Don't get me wrong, right? So that's super good, right? So they had the second announcement, right? So the second announcement was at 2.1%. And if you remember, the first guesstimate that they came out with was at 2.4%. We have computers today. We have the ability to use APIs to aggregate 18, at least the Truflation, we aggregate in real time on a daily basis 18 million items to be able to identify certain aspects, right? We do not have the resources and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars that a government has. We do this on a shoestring with a couple of $1 million so far in our existence to bring to you 18 million items, 3 price feeds per item, real time, every day, censorship resistant, as well as immutable. And anybody can give us data and upload data into the indexer that then indexes this data accordingly to the methodology that we have exposed on our website. Take a look at that and see that, right? How can we work together with institutions to update this data in real time and make sure that it is faster, it is immutable, so we can't go back and change it, and it remains censorship resistant. So it can't be taken down. People can dispute it. People can debate it. People can counter it. They can fork it. They can copy it and build whatever they want off the back of it. But in the end, we want to be able to have a better pulse of how the economy is performing. And we need to get the data faster, in more real time, with more precision, right? Waiting 3 months and every month doing another estimate in terms of what it actually is. But the good thing is, finally, we will get the third estimate, which means we get the final number. So we will know the exact growth rate and GDP performance by the end of the second quarter at the end of this month. In 2 days, sorry, at the end of this month, which is pretty much that. So it's come down from 2.4. I think it's now 2.1. So we'll see where the estimate lands today, right? So here, we'll see where it goes, but it's growing. The economy's doing healthy. We had summer months. This is always a Q2 is actually pre-summer, so it doesn't actually even include the summer months. So we're going to see strong growth over the next sort of 3. The next quarter is equally going to be a good growth rate. So hang on tight. We're in for more increased interest rates for sure. That's going to come, right? I think we can't say otherwise. So hang tight, have fun, milk it as much as you can. We're in a good economy despite some of the challenges that we have and we think that we're having. But all in all, the economy's growing. There is opportunity out there, and let's go capture that. Thank you, everybody. Have a happy Wednesday.